People of the internet, I kept promising that this wasn't going to be a gun-only channel. I had to deliver something other than a gun or a gun accessory. So I'd like to talk to you today about an adventure case for your iPhone that can turn your iPhone into basically a GoPro, a customizable GoPro. And this might not be for everyone. Some people like to be able to roll a GoPro for a long period of time and record all kinds of stuff they're doing. But if you're, a casual adventurer, you're going on a trip somewhere, maybe somewhere tropical, like in my case, and you want to be able to take some pictures, possibly underwater, this is a great solution. I have some experience with this recently from a trip, and so I just want to tell you guys about some of the features, and really this thing measures up. So what I'm talking to you about is the Optrix by Body Glove case. I believe they only make these for the iPhone, so if you're an Android user, sorry. I don't even know, honestly, if they produce these anymore. Maybe they still do, but you can get them for great prices on Amazon. Obviously, my box is empty because I've already used it, but highly recommended by various sources, as you can see on the back. Yeah, I'll stop showing you the box, and I'll show you basically what the important parts of this are. So you get this case from Optrix, and I'll just detach this float. This was something that I added on so that if I lost it while I was snorkeling, it wasn't going to sink on me, and I could just strap it around my wrist. Really handy and not super expensive. So this is the case, and as you can see, there's a lens already mounted here. The case has two options to open it up, and it's a little bit difficult to open them, which is good because you are obviously trying to seal out the water. So you can open the bottom and get to your headphone jack or your lightning adapter, or even to the speaker if you want to play some music. And if you want to use the case, you can flip it open. It comes with this, they call it, I think, the everyday case basically, but I'll take my iPhone. This is a 6S, usually living in its Magpul case. And first you just slip it into this basically hard plastic shell. I didn't use this really for anything. It's kind of slippery and not really meant for, carrying around that much, unless you're just going in and out of this other case and you want to take it out for a bit to do some work on your phone and make a call. But really, it helps to line up the phone with the most important part here, which is the lens. So as you can see, the lens just hinges over. Snap it in and you're good to go. This thing is now waterproof to 10 meters or 33 feet. So if you're going snorkeling, or if you're going to do like a resort dive somewhere, this should be able to handle the depths that you're getting to and take some pictures underwater. Nice thing about this is you can still use the phone while it's in the case. So you're able to manipulate the screen, load your pictures, load your camera so that you can snap away, make videos, whatever you're going to do. And it's got enough sensitivity that you can put in your password and get into your apps and do whatever you want while it's still in the case. So if you're at the beach, you can just leave this sucker right in the case and not worry about sand or water getting into it. I did that for much of the trip we just had in Cuba. You'll see some pictures rolling through the video of that. So essentially, this is kind of like, while you're on adventures, just leave it in the case. And you can clip on your float, or you can, take it out if you really need to. But if you're somewhere where there's going to be a lot of contaminants or water, I would just leave it right here in the case. So some things to know about the case itself. It comes with some different lenses. We'll talk about those. What I have loaded right now is the wide angle lens. Let's say somewhere on here. That is the wide angle lens. I found this is the best lens to use for underwater photos. It does look a bit fisheye on land, and especially if you're close to something, the further away you get, the better it gets. But really, underwater is where this lens shines. It loses a lot of that fisheye shape, I think because of probably some refractory differences between air and water and the way that light moves through water. If you use a regular, say for example, the zero lens that comes in here, which just uses whatever lens your camera, it's basically just a pass-through, there's no effect to your camera lens, you get a very narrow field of view underwater. So great for at the beach or taking action shots above the waves. But if you're going to go below the water, I found that the wide angle was kind of a necessity, or you got a very limited field of view, as I said. So really easy to change these out. We'll see how tightly I've screwed this one on here just to make sure that it was going to stay nice and dry. But basically you unscrew and screw on whatever lens you want to use. So wide angle is off, and you have the choice between the other three. So we have a macro lens. Macro lenses, for anybody who hasn't used one, you have to be really close to your object that you're photographing. I'll throw in a sample video of what the macro lens records so you guys know what that looks like, but not really something usable for your typical action shot. It's going to be something that you're trying to capture really up close. A telephoto lens, which is 2 times magnification. So you could use this underwater if you're trying to get, a close-up of some fish. If you've got a specific purpose that you're trying to get maybe birds or something while you're on your vacation, a little bit of extra reach on the 2 times. And then this is the 0, as I was talking about earlier, which is basically just a pass-through. So if I put this on, you'll be able to see right away that we lose the fisheye. That fisheye effect is now gone, and you get your standard iPhone range of view. But when you're underwater, that's going to feel pretty limited. So again, as I said, stay away from the 0, I think, if you're going to be underwater, unless you're getting really close to your subject. If you're doing, pictures of kids jumping in the pool or swimming and you're going to be nice and close, great. If you're trying to get sort of a more artistic shot or capture more of what's happening under the water, the wide angle is the way to go. Some cons with this case. I had an issue when I was snorkeling, I'll be honest. We went snorkeling twice while we were in Cuba. The first time, everything worked flawlessly, and I captured some videos and some pictures of all the fish and coral and whatever. The second time, I saw some great fish. I saw some lionfish and an eel and all kinds of stuff. I was super excited to get on camera, and at some point, and this is really down to user error, I had switched camera modes to slow-mo, which, okay, not the worst thing in the world. You could still work with that. But also user error, I got out of sequence. I got out of sync with what was recording and what wasn't. So even though through my mask I could see the camera and see the view, it was hard to tell if I was recording or not. Obviously the iPhone indicators aren't made for someone swimming underwater to be able to see if they're recording video. And so when I thought I was recording, I wasn't. And when I was recording was when I was swimming around and messing around with my mask and all that kind of junk. And whatever I did record was slow-mo only, so you lose a lot of video quality. So I was kind of choked that I missed out on some of the stuff that I would have otherwise captured, but it really came down to user error. So some tips that I have would be, 1, set your phone so that you don't need a password when it's inside the box, especially if you're going to be snorkeling or diving. That's just a hassle. You have to come to the surface to be able to use the touch screen. But it's best if you don't have to mess around trying to type in your password while you're floating in the waves. Just turn that off for while you're doing your dive or your swim. Number 2, there's a setting within the phone in the camera settings to always revert back to the same setting regardless of what you were using last in your camera. So it'll always pop back to the photos application rather than slow-mo or video or square photo or panoramic. Every time you open the picture app, the camera app, it'll reload to just regular pictures. So I would turn that on and turn off your passcode. I think you may also be able to increase the amount of time it takes before your iPhone powers down or shuts off the screen for the amount of time you're going to be in the water. Something that I would consider doing so that you're not having to constantly get the phone back on, go to the surface, and open up the camera app again. So that way when you're swimming around, it just stays open. Yeah, you're going to drain the battery while you're under, but hopefully you have some accessories like a battery pack that you can throw on after you're done your swim and recharge before you get to your next location. Otherwise, this thing worked great. Again, you've probably seen some video and some pictures as I've rolled through the video here. Obviously, you've got to get close to things if you want to get a nice high-res shot, especially with an iPhone camera. We all know that iPhone cameras make things look further away, look smaller. So some of the pictures, you might have to zoom in on them a bit. You're going to lose a bit of resolution quality, but it's basically an adventure camera. That's what you're looking at here. This isn't an SLR underwater. This is just to capture, those neat moments of fish swimming by or jumping through the waves or whatever you're doing. So, totally recommend this case. I got a couple of accessories, as I said, the float. It came with these lenses, which was an option package. I would recommend at least the wide angle if you're going to do underwater. And just be careful, obviously, the lenses kind of stick out here. This is the low profile zero lens. The other lenses stick up a bit higher. So if you put this down on concrete, especially if there are kids around, good chance you're going to get some pitting. My wide angle's got a little bit of pitting from some concrete abrasion. So hopefully it's still going to take some good pictures. Otherwise I can just order a new lens. They also make, I think, a telephoto 4x lens. One of the accessories that I got that I haven't been able to really use yet, I did take it with me to Cuba, but there really wasn't much of a point in getting it out because we were on a catamaran and it wasn't my catamaran, and I didn't want to stick this thing to the side of the hull and have somebody yelling at me. This is a Sea Sucker suction cup. If you don't know about them, they make, for example, bike racks and ski racks that go on high-end cars, and these cling right onto the vehicle and the glass so that you don't have to have a rack full-time on your car. So if you want to take your Mercedes to Whistler, you can throw your skis on using suction cups. This thing is rated, just so you guys see this, survive speeds over 200 miles per hour. Fits all Optrex cases. This thing, I tested it on my kitchen counter. It's amazing. It's a great suction cup, and it's made specifically for this Optrex product so that you just clip it in and put it on whatever you want. And actually, the image on the box is exactly what I intend to do with it. We have some paddle boards that I'll be doing a review on this summer, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with this mount. Is just throw it on the paddle board and be able to take some pictures, record some video, and just, see what we can capture. So I forget what I paid for this, maybe like $50. The case itself with all of these lenses and the microfiber cloth was in the neighborhood of $30. Not expensive at all. And I saw them for the iPhone SE for sure, which is probably also compatible with the iPhone 5, the iPhone 6 series, and there may even be iPhone 7 cases. If I can find them, I'll put a link in the description down below. But I would totally recommend this. I mean, if you're not going to use the mount, throw that out of the mix. You're looking at a $30 case that'll protect your phone while you're on vacation. Even if you don't plan on taking it in the water, it's going to keep the sand out of your phone. Spill your pina colada, it's not going to go in your phone. If you decide to jump in the pool and it's in your pocket, no big deal. Your phone's going to survive pretty much everything. If you're going somewhere like Southeast Asia and you're going to be, seeing some pretty cool stuff, waterfalls and whatever, why would you not just buy a $30 case that will allow you to do all kinds of stuff? I think it's kind of a no-brainer. My experience, super positive with this. Links in the description down below and where to find it. If you have any questions, post them down below and I'll answer them the best I can. Thanks, guys. Just before I end the video, guys, I was doing a little bit of research after I stopped recording because I wanted to make sure I had everything accurate about my review, and came across some unfortunate information that apparently the Optrex line of cases by Body Glove has been discontinued. Now, that doesn't mean that this video is useless. You can still buy these, and I would still recommend it. They don't make them anymore, but if you can get your hands on one of these, that's probably why they're so inexpensive. Well, I got mine for in the $30 range with all 4 lenses. If you have an iPhone 5, an iPhone SE, an iPhone 6 or 6S, No-brainer case. Still buy one of these. They just don't make them for anything newer than the 6 or 6S. Probably what I'll do is if I upgrade my iPhone at some point, I'll keep the 6 or 6S and use it for underwater and use it for the beach and just swap SIM cards and throw it in this case. Based on what the 6 can record and photograph, I see no reason to change it for underwater photography or, out on the beach. So kind of sad news there that they're not continuing. Body Glove does still make cases for iPhones. I was just briefly on their website, but they're more like a surf or a paddle case. The IPX rating on those, I think, is about 30 minutes in the water at about 2 meters. So not super deep, and they don't have interchangeable lenses, so they're really not meant for serious photography underwater. It's more like I'm paddleboarding and I want to be able to take my phone with me and not worry about it getting damaged by water if I fall in. So yeah, sucks that that's the news. It says right here on the website that they've made the decision to stop the development and sales of those cases, but they're still available on Amazon, eBay. There are certain other retailers that still have some of these. Snap them up while you can if you're interested in it and you have one of these phones that you're not going to get rid of anytime soon. Even if it's your backup phone, like I said, still usable, still totally worthwhile. So just thought I'd make it factual, guys. Take it easy.